But the process actually starts with what I call the visioneering step. There's visioneering, strategizing, actioneering, and belief change. Visioneering is the first step, which is getting clear on the ideal vision for your life. And this isn't always what people think it is. For example, a while back, I had a lady who started coaching with me, and she was a new coach. She was transitioning from a long career in biotechnology sales and starting her career as a leadership coach. And so she thought what she wanted was to start her coaching business. But when we dug down into what was really going on underneath the hood, it turned out that she was unhappy in her marriage and needed to get a divorce. And so that was what we actually discovered when we started looking at what her ideal life would look like.
Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Steve Ramona. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text OPTIMIZE to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stevr1961@gmail.com. That's stevr1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with a Servant's Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and I'm excited to have you listen to my guest today. We're going to dive into some very cool things. It's the start of a new year, so I think this timing is great. The man upstairs of the universe has really blessed me to have this guest today. But as I've said before, I've started with a new grateful gratitude card that I'm going to read out before every podcast. And today's is, I admire your strength and think you're amazing for doing what you do each and every day. Remember that. Think about that. You'd be grateful for that. With that being said, let's bring our guest on today. Dane, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Steve, thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here and talk about one of my favorite topics.
I love it. Martial scientist. What is that?
Well, I call myself a martial scientist because I basically started doing martial arts when I was 10 years old and never stopped, and developed my own approach, which is largely based in the fact that I think martial arts should be more like a science and less like a religion.
Yeah, very cool. Mind, body, energy. It's a ritual you do. Can you tell us what that ritual is?
Well, mind, body, energy is not a specific ritual. Mind, body, energy are actually the 3 components of the human being in Chinese cosmology. We have a physical body. We also have a mental aspect, our mind, and then there's the energy field that infuses both and links them together. So there's in Chinese cosmology, there's 3 aspects to the human, which are the mind, body, and the energy system. And as far as rituals, there's actually lots of different types of rituals, but the one that I consider to be most central is what I call a personal daily mind-body energetic hygiene practice.
Hmm.
And in particular, an ideal complete personal daily mind-body energy hygiene practice is one that incorporates all three regulations, which are body regulation, breath regulation, mind regulation. The what I call the internal path of mind-body mastery has to do with state management, managing the state of your mind-body energy system moment to moment. And while we are not able to directly control our state, God, in her infinite wisdom, gave us three built-in levers that we can use to manage our state, which are our body, our breath, and our mind. These are the three things that we can control directly that influence state. And state, of course, is the basis of everything. It's the basis of performance, mood, focus, energy, your relationships, your overall quality of life is predicated on your state. And by learning to regulate body, breath, and mind together, i.e., the three regulations, you can learn to manage your state moment to moment. And this is one of the things that a personal daily mind body energetic hygiene practice does. So essentially, it's a combination of exercise, breath work, and meditation all rolled into a single activity. So it's a good kind of multitasking. And this is something that I believe every human needs to have just to maintain baseline physical, mental, emotional health, wellness, fitness, longevity. In other words, if you don't have a practice like this that you're doing already, something that's meeting this need for you, then I can tell you that you are depriving yourself. You're not getting what your body needs to be healthy, and you're probably feeling it. So having some kind of personal daily mind body practice that incorporates body regulation, breath regulation, and mind regulation is necessary for health and wellness, but also developing the ability to manage our state, which is the basis of everything. And that's central to the what I call the internal path of mind body mastery.
What's the journey your clients go through when they join your coaching / academy?
Well, what I do is help ambitious professionals achieve big goals without burning out. So it starts with having some kind of goal, something that you want to achieve. But the process actually starts with what I call the visioneering step. There's visioneering, strategizing, actioneering, and belief change. Visioneering is the first step, which is getting clear on the ideal vision for your life. And this isn't always what people think it is. For example, a while back, I had a lady who started coaching with me, and she was a new coach. She was transitioning from a long career in biotechnology sales and starting her career as a leadership coach. And so she thought what she wanted was to start her coaching business. But when we dug down into what was really going on underneath the hood, it turned out that she was unhappy in her marriage and needed to get a divorce. And so that was what we actually discovered when we started looking at what her ideal life would look like. So point being, it starts, whatever you think your goals are, there's a process that I call visioneering for getting clear on what your highest purpose and calling in this lifetime is. And then we start from there, because if you get clear at the highest level, then everything below that falls into place. Because if this is the vision, then that means that this has to come first, and this has to come before that, and this has to come before that. And you can logically work all the way down to, what do I need to be doing right now, right this minute, the rest of today, tomorrow, etc.
Sounds like mental health is benefit from this as well.
Well, you could certainly say that's a side effect. I'm not a
Side effect,
mental health professional,
right.
but there's actually a saying in Qigong. Qigong is energy work. It just means It's it's a Chinese word. It just means energy work, and uh, it's based on the three regulations: body regulation, breath regulation, mind regulation. And there are three primary branches of Qigong, which are medical Qigong. It originated as a medical practice. Medical Qigong focuses on stress reduction and cultivating health, wellness, and vitality. And then there's martial Qigong, which focuses on performance enhancement and strengthening the body. And then there's spiritual Qigong, which focuses on progressing through unfolding states and stages of expanding spiritual awareness. But they're all three based on the three regulations and this principle that when the tide comes in, all the boats rise. I've taught a lot of people Qigong over the years, not as a doctor, but just as a Qigong practitioner. And I tell people, I can't promise specific results, but I can say from my own experience, when people start doing this, stuff just gets better. Like people say, "Oh, I've had this pain in my shoulder for years and it's gone," or I've suddenly started sleeping better, or I don't have headaches anymore. It's just stuff tends to get better, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or whatever. So, um, although mental health is not the primary focus, it's definitely a predictable side benefit
Yeah,
of
and
having
that's
a
nice.
practice like this.
Yeah, with the world it is today with mental health, that's why I mentioned that, because any way you can help mental health to where it's at today is powerful. And it's powerful what you're doing.
And
Burnout, you said.
this is the way I
Go
think
ahead.
about it. This is like a more
Go ahead.
fundamental principle. But when we talk about any kind of health, there's any living organism, if its needs are met, it will be healthy. Like if you have a row of plants and you give them everything they need, you give them water, sunlight, nutrients, etc., they'll flourish, they'll grow, and live up to their potential. And then you take another row of plants, you don't give them warmth, you don't give them sunlight, you deprive them nutrients, whatever. Guess what? They'll be stunted. We're the same way. All living things are like that. And so if you meet your needs, you will flourish. Your mind, body, energy system will flourish. If you aren't meeting your needs in some way, then your health will be negatively impacted. But it's a matter of not getting something you need. So, like I said before, we all need a practice like this. And if you don't have a practice like this already, guess what? Your health is suffering. I already know that. Just like if you're not watering your plants. So it's really just a matter of providing the body with what it needs, meeting all of our needs, including our need for sleep and healthy food, also our need for movement, our need for relationships, all of our need for growth and discovery, and our need to live up to our full potential. All of our needs being met is what creates conditions for health. And if there are any needs that are not being met, then guess what? You can't be healthy.
Simple. I mean, it's not simple, but you make it sound simpler. Let's use the simpler word, not simple, because it's
It
not.
may be
But
simple,
that's
but not easy for some
there. You
people.
go. Thank you. See, I love being corrected in a great way. Well, let's talk about that busy professional then. How do they incorporate these Chinese practices?
Well, there's I'm going to introduce another dimension here because I mentioned that the mind body practice is the internal path of mind body mastery, which seems to raise the question: well, what's the external path?
Yeah.
Because this is how I look at it. There's the internal path and the external path. The internal path is state management. You need to have some kind of personal daily mind body energetic hygiene practice, which doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a lot, but some kind of daily practice uh, involving a way I shorten it is move, breathe, contemplate. Some kind of
Yeah.
intentional movement. And it doesn't have to be hard or vigorous. In fact, it's good if it's gentle, but regular and consistent. Breathe, some kind of intentional breathing practice. And there's lots of types of breath work out there. It's more important that you do something than what it is. Um, and contemplate, which is you can, if the term meditation sounds scary, you can think of it as quiet time, but just something where you are intentionally contemplating, or it could be some kind of reflective reading from an inspirational
Yeah.
source, or it could be some kind of journaling, or or creative process like this. But this is just, as long as it incorporates the three regulations, as long as it incorporates body and breath and mind in some form, and you're getting some combination of that on a daily basis. And it could be just like one thing you do that takes 15 minutes. It's like taking a shower. You do it every day, and you get used to it, and eventually you don't want to skip it because you know it'll feel like crap if you don't. So some personal daily practice like that, or combination of practices. It doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be for a long time, but just regular and consistent is something that we all need, whether we're busy professionals or not. But what's particularly relevant for busy professionals is what I call the external path. The internal path of mind body mastery is all about state management. The external path is all about information and action management, which is the fancy psychology term is executive functioning, or as I like to call it, the fine art of deciding what to do and then doing it. And this relies on, first and foremost, having a trusted system outside your head for keeping track of all the important information in your life, so you can use your brain for having ideas instead of trying to hold on to them. There's a huge trap that a lot of people fall into, especially the most intelligent and motivated among us, because we get in the habit of relying on our brains. I had this curse that when I was a kid, everybody would tell me, "Oh, Dane, he's so smart. He's a walking dictionary." And I came to think of myself as smart. I sort of prided myself on that, and I thought I could use my brain for everything. But it turns out uh, we all have this massive supercomputer at our disposal that only has 5 bits of RAM, aka short-term memory, meaning no matter how smart you are, you can only hold 5 things in your memory at once. You can't keep it all in your head. You'll be overwhelmed. Uh, you'll suffer from what's called decision fatigue, because you're constantly trying to keep track of everything in your head. So what you need to have is trusted systems outside your head for keeping track of what's important, so that you can use your brain for having ideas instead of trying to hold on to them. And this is what, and essentially building systems for yourself in order to function in, is what allows you to be productive. If you're a traditional employee, you go to work and the system in which you can work and be productive is designed for you by somebody else, and you just crank the gears of that system. But if you are an ambitious professional, if you want to be in the driver's seat of your own life, if you want to be what I call the CEO of your own life, whether you're actually an entrepreneur or a business owner, or if you just want to be in control of your destiny, then you have to create the systems for yourself in order to function and be productive in. So the internal path is all about state management. The external path is all about system management, so that you can use your brain power effectively towards whatever goals you consciously choose, rather than suffering from shiny object syndrome and being pulled every direction.
I like the system part because I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of them don't have systems. And you're taking it to the mind body. This makes things easier and simpler to do, which is great. You mentioned the word burnout earlier. It's a powerful word right now because COVID's been around. This is a crazy year this year. And I've talked to a lot of people burning out, ready to quit. What do you tell them?
Well, there's maybe two elements involved here. One is goes back to what I said earlier about meeting the body's needs. If you are
It's,
not meeting your needs, which and also uh, movement is a need. Movement is a big. Movement is probably the biggest, because we all know we need water, we need food, we need sleep, but movement is also a need. So, and what a lot of people do is they think, I'll go to the gym 3 times a week, and that will meet my need for movement. In our ancestral environment, do you think our ancestors just did like moderately intense activity for 45 minutes 3 times a week and sat around the rest of the time? No, they were moving sporadically throughout the day consistently. So I think of movement as kind of like the way people think about staying hydrated. You don't just drink a bunch of water 3 times a week. You take sips of water throughout the day. And movement is similar. You don't have to do anything really intense, but if you're just taking little sips of movement, small movement, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes here and there throughout the day, getting up to stretch, getting up to walk around, as long as you're moving consistently, this is probably the need that is most under recognized and underappreciated. That like if you're not meeting your body's need for movement, then you're just your energy is going to suffer, your health is going to suffer, your mood, etc. So avoiding burnout is about making sure you're meeting all of your needs, including especially your need for movement and then all of the physiological and psychological needs. But then there's also an element of recognizing what you can actually do, because burnout is also created by trying to do too much.
Yep.
Or trying to do the wrong thing. If you're not on the right path, if your ladder is against the wrong wall for you, if you're not doing with your life what you came here to do, then that's certainly a big contributor. So getting clear on the vision, which I also touched on, getting clear on your highest vision and aligning your day-to-day activities with your highest vision, and also recognizing that there's only so much you can do, and productivity isn't about doing more things, it's about doing the right things. So if you just do one thing people often do is they think if I put more stuff on my calendar or my to-do list, that means more stuff will get done. And then surprise, surprise, I find out it's not the way it works. You can put as much as you want on your calendar, but you can only do so much in a day. And in fact, we have 3 energy peaks during the day of 45 to 90 minutes during which we can get important work done. So what are often called your big rocks, your important things, your most important tasks for the day, it's important to recognize when your energy peaks are, like when you're going to have the maximum energy, focus, motivation, and when those tiny windows throughout the day are, and do your most important work then, do your most important tasks then, and don't try to do them during the downtimes, during the dips, during the times when you're not going to be at your peak. And this is just the way we work. We're not machines that turn on and run for 8 hours and shut off. We have peaks and valleys throughout the day. So recognizing and working with those, and recognizing that you can get maybe 2 really important things done each day, but generally no more than that.
I like that because the 8-hour work week badge is gone. You know, my dad was in the 60s, 70s. He worked 8 hours a week and everybody did that. Thought was the greatest thing in the world. It's not. It was not that back then. It was just what people were doing. We're coming to the end here, and I love that how you said that. What do you see Mind Body Mastery Academy look like in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, right now, what I have is a group coaching program as my primary offer. I do one-on-one coaching as well, but the group program is the entry point for most people, and that the focus there is on setting and achieving specific goals, making consistent progress week after week. One of the things that I do is I host a professionally facilitated weekly accountability meeting every Monday for people in my group coaching program. That's just one of the things I do. And because that ensures that, if nothing else, at least you'll get one important thing done each week. And if you do nothing else, but you get one important thing done consistently week after week after week, you'll make progress. So it's as the saying goes, it doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you keep moving. An idea that I am planning for this coming year is to start a series of summits, the Mind Body Mastery Summit. I'm planning to do this several times a year. So I'm planning to do the first one of these April 1st, 2026, where I'm going to pull together experts in these different areas related to the mind, the body, the energy system, to bring together as much valuable information and support as possible for people to get clear on their highest vision, and not only get clear on the highest vision, but to get aligned with it, to align their daily rituals and activities with their highest vision so that they can feel like whatever they're doing each day is exactly aligned with their purpose. And that way, not only are we all making progress in our own lives, we're also all making the world a better place, and we're able to do it sustainably without burning out.
Beautiful mission. Love that. Um, Thank you for being a great guest. This is wonderful. I learned a lot of Chinese practices. I'm gonna, I was thinking that the move, breathe, quiet time, or contemplate. You could do the move and breathe in the shower. You had mentioned the shower, but you could go up and down and move in the shower for 2 or 3 minutes. There's tick the box. I hate to do that, but
You can even do this while you're lying in bed. In fact, I'll tell you one
yeah,
this really easy thing that got a great result for one of my clients. I explained, you know what abdominal breathing is, right? You can
yeah.
either breathe into your chest or you can breathe into your belly. So this is a good thing when you wake up. You just lie on your back in bed and kind of put your hands on your abdomen, and you breathe fully and deeply into your belly as slowly as you can. So just breathe all the way in very slowly, and then breathe all the way out very slowly. And that's a gentle way to transition from sleep to wakefulness and to kind of ease yourself into the day. And I told this to one of my clients, uh, and she came the next week. She told me she tried it, and not only when she was waking up, but she found if she woke up in the middle of the night, which she would do sometimes, she like had insomnia, she'd wake up in the middle of the night, and she did this, and she would just go right back to sleep. So you can it's not about intensity, it's about consistency. It could be very, very gentle. You can even do it first thing when your eyes come open in the morning while you're still lying in bed.
Thank you, because that is a powerful way to start the day. And I'm going to start that tomorrow morning or my nap later on today. Half kidding. I am 64. I get to nap. But with that being said, I know people would love to reach out to you. How can they connect with you and see the Academy and this group coaching?
Well, the best place to find me is through my website, which is the URL is right here if you're watching. It's mindbodymastery.academy. That's the URL. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm the only Dane Dormio in the world, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Beautiful. QR code there as well. You can scan.
Right, there's a QR code on this side that goes to my website.
Yeah.
It
So if
just
you're on
goes
your
to that
computer,
URL.
people go crazy. Oh, I can't do them on my phone. Of course, you can't do it on your phone because you're on your phone. But if you have your phone with you in your hand, you could do that. So, with that being, again, Dean, thanks so much for spending the time and really motivating, inspiring the audience. And audience, subscribe to podcast. This one, any others that you might be part of, because they're truly gifts. And what a way to go to a New Year's Eve party, because we're on New Year's Eve right now. If you won't see it today, but if you go to a party next in January of 2026, share this out to people that are really struggling. Just that breath during when you wake up, that breath practice would be a game changer for people. Did you impact their lives? Absolutely. Dane's impacting lives every day, but now you can share him out by subscribing. So go ahead and do that. And with that being said, me and Dane want to thank everyone for watching or listening to his podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.